Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Fiercely Spiritual podcast. I'm your host, Sandra Ray, and I just want to thank you once again, for listening, for being here, for making the time to listen, to tune in, and to take the time for yourself to learn, to grow, to develop yourself. And I always say I don't listen to the radio in the car. I always listen to podcasts, things that inspire me, uplift me, things that I can learn from. Because what I find is when I'm driving along, I can turn on the radio and I can listen to songs. And I do listen to music as well, but I choose what I listen to, what music I wish to listen to. But I often find if it's like a talk show or something that comes on and they start talking about something, it could be a topic I'm not interested in. It could be a topic I am interested in. But invariably, the people who are talking, I know that after listening to them, I'm not going to come away feeling uplifted and inspired and spurred on. I'm usually going to come away feeling pretty drained, pretty down, and thinking that the world is a horrible place, because that's what radio shows are designed to do. They go on drama, and they, that thing that they say with newspapers, if it bleeds, it leads. So they put pictures in the newspapers on the front pages of, accidents and stuff like that, because they know that it's going to sell papers. So I'm going off topic here. I just wanted to say that if you are listening to something, make sure you are choosing what you're listening to, and thank you for being here and choosing to listen to this. So today we are talking about money comes to me effortlessly, which is a mantra that I love and that I use all the time. I think it might have been James Wedmore that I heard it from first, but it's a mantra that it uplifts me, it helps me to grow and prosper and thrive. And it's something that I like to think that I live in my life. And I'm going to give you a story of how this has come about in my life. And probably at the time, I didn't realize how I was manifesting this. I was manifesting it, but probably not as consciously as I manifest today. I'm probably more conscious. No, I am more conscious in the way I manifest today. But it was 2012 and I was pregnant with my first son. And I was working at the time in a corporate job and I loved my job. But I always knew from even when I was little that when I had children, I wanted to be at home with them, because my mother was always at home for us. And I always loved that. I always loved that she was there for us, and she had worked intermittently. She had worked before us and she had worked intermittently when we got older, when we were in school and at college, but she was always there when we were really young. And I wanted that for my kids. So I always had a conviction that I would be at home for my kids when they were young, because I wanted to be that presence in their lives. And when I was pregnant, I knew that I was going on maternity leave, and I knew that I'd probably take about 9 or 10 months off work. And I had about 10,000 euros saved for that 9 or 10 months for my maternity leave. And after that, I had a choice. I could go back to my job or I could leave. And I knew that that money that I'd saved wasn't going to last forever. It probably would barely last the 9 or 10 months. And I had no plan of what I was going to do afterwards. All I knew was that I didn't really want to go back to my corporate job. I wanted to be at home with my kids, and I'd find some way to make it work. And the key here is that I knew that I would find some way to make it work. So I had that conviction, I had that expectancy that everything would work out. And I think when you have that trust and that belief, then the universe backs you up. If you believe everything is working out in my favor, everything's going to work out, and money comes to me effortlessly, that's what's going to happen. So what happened to me? Well, first of all, it was the opposite. was the same time that I was due to go on maternity leave, and myself and my husband were buying our first house. Now, we were getting a mortgage from the bank, and the bank had asked us to pay a significant deposit on the house, which we had saved, which was fine. But they saw that there was an extra €10,000 in my savings account. And they said, well, why aren't you using that for the deposit? And I explained that I was saving it for my maternity leave, but they didn't want to hear about it. All they were concerned with was that we would put as much money towards the deposit of the house as possible, and they didn't care about maternity leave or savings or anything like that. So I had a choice. I could put that money towards the house and we could buy our dream home, or I could keep it for my maternity leave and we wouldn't be able to buy the home. So of course I chose to put it towards the home. Now, when I was on maternity leave, the company that I was working with at the time, I'd only been with them probably for less than 2 years. So they weren't paying me during my maternity leave. So I wasn't getting paid from them. I had no other source of income. So suddenly I was going on maternity leave and I didn't have any source of income. I didn't know what I was going to do. And still I trusted that the money would be there for me. Money comes to me effortlessly. And it may not have been that exact mantra that I was using, but I was using mantras at the time to keep, those affirmations strong and forefront in my mind. So what happened was we bought the house and we were delighted, our dream home, and it was just such a delight and everything worked out brilliantly. And I went on maternity leave and I had owned an apartment which I had bought a few years previously. And during that time, the property market had crashed. So the value of the apartment had totally dropped. And I'd been trying to sell that apartment for years and it wasn't budging. So I had no expectancy that it was going to sell anytime soon. And we had moved out of it. We decided that we were going to rent it out. So just as we moved into our new home, suddenly a buyer came up and we ended up selling our apartment really quickly. And the mortgage from that apartment was paid off, and the extra money that was left over, there was around, I think it was about €30,000 was left over. And suddenly I went from not having an income, not having any money, not knowing where the money was coming from, to having an extra €30,000 in my account, which was amazing. And it was so unexpected because I had no clue that that apartment was going to sell. It hadn't sold for the past 3 or 4 years. So there was no indication that it was going to sell anytime soon. And just suddenly out of the blue it sold. And of course, that was my expectancy that money would be there for me, that money was going to show up. And it did, and it showed up in abundance. But not only that, when it came to the end of my maternity leave, I decided, okay, 9-10 months has passed. It's time for me to start doing something. It's time for me to choose what I'm going to do. So I'd already made the decision that I wasn't going back to the corporate role. So I decided I was going to teach my first course. And my first course was Attracting Abundance with the Angels. And it was something that I was so passionate about. And I think about 5 of my friends signed up to it. And I taught it in my sitting room. And as I was teaching the course, as I was teaching the practices and the processes of attracting abundance with the angels, I was going through the practices myself. And it was a while since I'd done them before because I had practiced all these things, but I wasn't actively doing them every single day. So I was going through the practices myself while I was teaching the other people. And suddenly things started to just really shift. I had, as I said, I'd left work, and because I had that 9 or 10 months where I had still been employed, I had all this holiday pay that came to me suddenly. And I was paid a bonus that was unexpected right before I left. And other unexpected money just fell into my lap. I received €15,000 out of the blue, just completely unexpected, unknown that it was even coming. And all this money just started pouring into my life. And it was like the universe was saying, you've made that leap. You've decided, even though I didn't know how this was going to work out, where the money would come from, I took that first step and I started teaching that course. And the universe replied in abundance. I decided to teach about attracting abundance with the angels. And the universe said, yes, here you go. This is what you're meant to be doing, and we're going to support you in doing it. And I just wanted to share that story with you, because now it hasn't all been plain sailing, and there's been plenty that's happened in between that I've learned from and that I've grown from. And starting up a business is one of the biggest things that you'll do when it comes to your personal development and your personal growth, because it is just such a huge step when it comes to that. But it's one of the best things that you can do to face your fears, to move forward, and to release those fears that are holding you back. Now, often I look back on it and I think, gosh, I was so naive. I had no plan. I had no money saved. Well, I had money saved, but that was gone. And I could have done things so much differently. I probably could have worked part-time and done my healing practice part-time. But in fact, I had tried that earlier, where I did my job full-time and my healing practice part-time. And I just found that it was too much. I couldn't do both, but I probably could have cut down the hours. But looking back, I had just that conviction, that sense of conviction that everything would work out. And recently I got an email, and it was from Catherine Zinkina, and I love her posts. If you're on Instagram, she's called Manifestation Babe on Instagram. And she was talking about how when you're manifesting, you don't manifest through being positive or being negative. You manifest through what you expect. You get what you expect. And I had such a conviction and such an expectancy that everything would work out, that everything did work out, and it more than worked out. Everything just came about beautifully, and I was just so blessed. But I had that expectancy. I just knew that I was being supported. I didn't know how, and I didn't have to know how. I knew that the universe would support me in the way that it knew how and it knew best, because I didn't have the full picture. I may have been naive. I may have just taken that leap. But every time you take that leap of faith, the net is sure to appear. Every time you take that leap of faith, the net is sure to appear. Had I let fear hold me back, had I said, well, no, I'll go back to the job and I'll do it for a little while longer and I'll save and blah, 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 I could have been saving for years and still not had the amount of money that I received in that next 9 or 10 months after I decided to leave the job. I still mightn't have received that amount of money through saving, because it just mightn't have been possible for me. And I could have logically thought, well, I'll go the safe route and I'll stay working in the safe job and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I'll keep plugging away, and missed the whole first years of my children, who I wanted to be with and be around. And that wasn't something that I wanted to settle for. That wasn't something that I was willing to settle for. And I took that leap of faith. Looking back, yes, I could have done things differently, but I learned so much, and I'm still learning every day. And it's still a joy to see what unfolds and what the universe has in store for me. But I just wanted to get you to set that expectation, to start setting your expectations for your good. Money comes to me effortlessly if it's money you want, or health comes to me effortlessly, or whatever it is, or that relationship comes to me effortlessly. Whatever it is that you expect is what you're going to get. You get what you expect, and what you focus on expands. So if you focus on the expectancy of your good coming to you, then that's what you're going to get. And I wanted my story to be an example for you to know that it is possible. you can expect good things to happen, and they do happen. I'm an example of it. And likewise, when I expect bad things to happen, often things go that way as well. So be careful what you're focusing on. Choose to focus only on your good. And it's not to say when a bad thought comes up that or a negative thought or whatever comes up, that you have to immediately get rid of it. Acknowledge what's there and then choose what you want to focus on. I'm always saying, don't try to get rid of something, because what you resist persists. Acknowledge it. Thank it for alerting you to something, because usually it's your mind trying to alert you to some danger. Thank it for being there. Acknowledge it and saying, yes, I'm aware that you think there's danger here, but I'm choosing to focus on this and focus on your good, focus on the best possible outcome. And I guarantee if you keep doing that consistently every day, your life will start to turn around and money will come to you effortlessly. Health and well-being will come to you effortlessly. That relationship will come to you effortlessly. But it takes constant practice and persistence. You can't do it for 10 minutes a day. You can't do it for one day a week. You can't do it for a week and then give up. Every single day you have to do this, and you have to train yourself to do it. And that's why I offer the services that I offer, and I teach the courses that I'm teaching, because I want to help you to train yourself to be consistent in your spiritual practice. And I have something really exciting coming up that's going to help you with that. So I'm going to have more information on that in the coming days. If you want to find out more, please follow me on Instagram. I'm at Sandra Ray _ angelic bodies. Follow me on Facebook. You'll find it on Facebook /Sandra Ray. Get on my email list. It's on my website, angelicbodies.ie, and you'll hear all about it, because I'm really excited to share this with you. And it's going to open you up to all that good that is there waiting for you, and that you can have at any time. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has helped. And I'm looking forward to sharing this thing that I'm offering that is going to help you to stay consistent and to adopt that practice that is going to turn your life around. So thank you again so much for listening and for being here, and I will chat to you soon.